So we will start with our Maven project web application. For simple WebSocket, let's just name it WebSocket byte, as we are going to see how to send bytes of data. So next, finish, and IDE will create our basic structure of the project. So here is our basic structure of project, and we are just going to publish few bytes of data to see how WebSocket works. Bytes of, let's just name it bytes of data, and say it WebSocket bytes of data, and here we will say hello WebSocket bytes of data, and we will include one form. Okay, in the next web application I will show you how to create a check using WebSocket. So let's just say my value. Here it is going to publish few numeric values data, and what's the type? Text. And let's give some here, and when I press the button, I need a button so that when I press it, it will publish the data. And let's just say it on click, because once I press means on clicking, it will publish the data. So we are done with it, and let's just say div ID. I will name it as output so that I can append what's all happening behind the scenes. And for the client, I will create using client side using script, JavaScript. I can also do it using Java class, but I will first show you with the help of what we call JavaScript, text oblique JavaScript. So till now we have prepared our user interface to interact with client, and client code will sit in JavaScript WebSocket. So first we will create our server endpoint, so name it as WebSocket endpoint. So what we will call it as server endpoint, and how to invoke it? The URI should be bytes. Finish it. You just have to remember, when you are using annotations, you have to mention @server endpoint, and here we are not publishing string data, we are publishing just byte, how to send bytes of data and receive the bytes of data. So I will convert it into byte, and we will say return message. That's it. And we will create our client side in the JavaScript, name it as WebSocket, as we have included in our user interface. That script is name websocket.js. So here it is, one variable that will hold the path to the server endpoint, ws colon, and document dot location dot host plus document dot location dot path name plus what's the end is bytes. As you can see here, we have mentioned bytes to invoke it, and close it. Another variable WebSocket to invoke new WebSocket connection. This is a WSURI. Give the path, and now we will tell what kind of data we are sending. We are sending just binary type, which is array buffer. Now 4 events that should be invoked: on open, function, event, on open, event, and other 3 are on message. Next one is on message, on message, next is on error, if any error happens. And last one is close the connection once we are done with it. So I will create one more variable that will hold the values to be printed on the user interface. So let's just say get element. Okay, now we will create our first event, that is on open, and I will say just in console show me the connection connected to WSURI function. Next is when we click the button, that is publish data. So we need a variable buffer that will hold this type of data, that is array buffer. So where the it's a text field, my value dot value dot, we will just see the length of it here in the, because in next chat application I am going to show how the text values have been shown over the screen. So variable bytes will hold this data which is stored in buffer. So let's just say buffer, and it's a global, and we will read it using for loop. Variable I equal to 0, I is less than bytes dot length, I plus plus, and let's just say bytes. So it's done. Now I will send this data, WebSocket dot send buffer of data to the server endpoint, and let's just print it also on our screen output, that is user interface. Sent what we are sending, sent bytes, buffer dot byte length. That's it. Okay, next is the function on message, what we have received. Let's just say what we have received, and we will print it on the screen output. Okay, and what we have received, received, let's just say event dot data we have received. And last one is to check the errors. If any error happens, this will invoke and print on the screen output. Span style color red, error span function. So for printing on the screen output, what we want to print on screen are the messages. So for that we need a variable, let's just say MSG, that will hold the values, and we will create one element, which tag it will HTML p tag, paragraph tag, and give it a style so that word should appear in a break, or it will be clumsy to read it. And let's just say message dot inner HTML, print the messages. Okay, and append it to what? Output. So MSG appended, and let's just say close, clean and build it, and we will see what's the output. Screen output. Okay, on close. So it's built successfully, and let's just run it and see what's the output. So here it is, our simple user interface. Once I press the publish button, it sent 9 bytes of data and received what we have received. An array buffer is being received, and let's just see it on another screen, that means another client. Let's just say and invoke it. Okay, I will include one more, 10, and publish 11 bytes of data, and what we have received is the array buffer. In the next session we are going to see how we can create a